Welcome everybody to the Flatcar Developer Sync in September. We have a little bit of reduced attendance here. September is traditionally the conference time, so a few folks are on conferences. A few other folks attended conferences and might be sharing details in this call. Focus of the DevSync is more or less looking at the task board, looking at the roadmap, checking what everybody's working on, and planning the next release. We're a CNCF project, and we adhere the CNCF Code of Conduct, and that is true for this meeting as well. All right, giving the mic to Cyan to lead the DevSync.
Thank you, Thilo. Let me share my screen. Okay, so starting off with the news and announcements. So as you folks might know, so we have Docker 26 in the beta, which is the last release, and we would definitely like you all folks to test them and test them rigorously so that we can identify the issues beforehand, and feel free to open the issues on the tracker. Next is the monthly contribution. So, Thilo, do you want to take it?
Yeah, this one will be a quick one. So we don't have new contributors. We have a number of contributors who joined the project last month. Most contributions are either infrastructure and testing. So I see, sorry, Julian, the Hetzner engineer, has contributed to a number of mental improvements, particularly for Hetzner testing. And also, a few doc improvements are there. LVM is now documented. So a user actually ran into challenges setting up LVM with Flatcar, had a chat with us, and then ended up filing a documentation PR. This is great. This is the way we like to see, and this is the way we like to interact with our users. Other than that, just some regular updates that went in. The Go update is pending. I guess that's something that we're going to take a look at the task board, and package refreshes are somewhat going on, fixing a few security issues.
Cool. Next on the list is the roadmap view. So I think this is also for you, Thilo.
Yeah, not much news there. We have strong focus on secure boot now. We have a few folks actually joining the team, and we'll spread our focus in the near future again. But right now, we want to make sure that all of the measured boot, secure boot pieces are in place. So I attended the Image-Based Linux Summit yesterday, which is just a small group of folks interested in immutable Linux. We meet once a year. Yesterday was this year's meeting. We publish our stuff in LVM and in the UAPI group, and TPM and measured boot, and all of this is currently a strong interest in that group. Particularly measured boot, not so much secure boot. That's more or less interest. I think Flatcar's interested in. And we were discussing and exploring topics on how users can make sure to submit their own keys and get their builds validated, how we can approach that and make sure that clouds actually boot the Flatcar images. We tell them to boot and all of that stuff. Not much progress on the other end. So I mean, chasing Gentoo upstream with our updates is basically a continuing task, because all of the packages just get updates, and we just need to stay on track there. I know of a little bit of progress under the hood. Maybe Krashimir has one word or two to that, and that is the package update analysis automation that we're working on, basically checking what e-builds we ship, and then what e-builds are new in Gentoo, and then generate a diff and make it easier to merge that diff.
Yeah, basically, the portage table part is like largely done because it is automated, like completely with exception of one E class that I'm just going to put under automation shortly. So that part is done, but of course we have also packages in CoreOS overlay, and like none of that are updated. Not everyone could be, but we have some of those that are based on some Gentoo packages. So for those, we could try either moving the portage table or apply some also automation routine that updates the package and then applies our modifications to it. Yeah, so there was a good progress on that, but as Tilo said, it's still ongoing. But it's like the effort will. So a part of this effort is also that I wrote some automation that I want to file it for a review this week. It's a thing that I have been using for over a year now for doing the weekly updates. So after that, I think the next item would be to have a look at the updating packages in Core overlay. Yeah, so that's the
Awesome.
state.
That's a good status. Thanks for the summary. All right, that's
Thank
it
you.
for the.
Yes, thank you, Thilo. Thank you, Kajime. So moving on next, agenda. The next is composable OS. So I don't think we have. I'm not sure about the updates there.
Oh, they're so we're still kind of recovering from the vacation time,
Vacations, yes,
building
and the
building momentum. I love having, for people to go on vacations because that's a very important part of work-life balance. We have a few communications with upstream cluster API. There will be a demo actually tonight in a cluster API call on in-place updates for Kubernetes. That's not much that we can do on our end. It's basically all there. We use Kubernetes as a sysx, and we offer a mechanism to update it. And we just want to make sure the cluster API folks are aware of that. There is a kind of complementary proposal on the cluster API GitHub that discusses in-place updates from the procedural, from the structural, from the cluster API management side, so to speak. And I just want to make sure that we stay aligned with those folks, what they're trying to do, and what we can offer from the operating system side. But that's mostly it.
correct. Yeah, I think maybe for
Actually, I think we can close the Podman extension because we have Podman done, right? Like
yes.
it's implemented.
I'll defer this to I'll ping Matthew on this and defer it to Matthew. Close this.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Next one on the list is secure boot. So on secure boot side, so me and Chui in the past month have been working, and Daniel also joined in recently. So in the past month, what we have achieved is we have a couple of PRs that got merged, including Chui's work on updating Grub to 2.12, and we also have like the sim submission PR almost ready. I mean, we have a Docker file and stuff. Right now we are working on like the ARM secure boot status and signing basically the signing infrastructure. These are the two items pending. Once we have the ARM secure boot, we would need to integrate that because it would produce a different shim. So we would just need to update the Docker files and stuff, and I think we are ready to go. There are just few questions that are left to answer, and I guess we are after that ready for submission. Yeah, I think that's the update for secure boot. We definitely have for now we have one test, but we definitely would like to add more tests there for secure boot. Yeah, and I don't think if we did this in the past month, but we also tested it on the Azure um, trusted launch, so that was working. I know I'm not sure if we didn't in August or in September, but yeah, that is something we tested in the last few days. Yeah, so I think anything to add, Daniel Chewy?
Yeah, I've been taking Jeremy's tool that uses Azure Key Vault as a PKCS plugin, so we can use that to sign things. I've been packaging that up for Gentoo so that we can have it in the SDK to do the signing, and that's going quite well. It's packaged and running. I haven't quite got it working yet, but Jeremy's just given me a couple of pointers literally a few minutes ago. While I was waiting for that, I've also been updating the UEFI firmware in Gentoo's packages because they were messy and out of date, and they didn't support ARM. So that'll give us a bit more control over sort of the latest firmware available, and we can tweak some options as we need to, and so on. And yeah, that's looking nice. Yeah, there's my pull request to add a Flatcar version to Grub as well, so that the version that we tell the shim review matches what you actually see. If someone could review that, that would be great. We can get that merged, and I can update the shim review questions accordingly.
I'll give a review just after this meeting. I did read through it, but I did not give it a person yet.
Okay, thanks.
There were some,
Daniel?
like you pointed out, some issue with adding this Flatcar version to Grab. That what happens when you update Grab to a different revision or something like that?
Yeah, that's the point of it, because we're using the upstream Gentoo package now. We're kind of bound by their versioning, but we can still tweak the build to insert our own string so that actually appears when, in the Grub menu and so on. And that's the most important thing, I think. It will still use the Gentoo version in the binary package, but users don't install binary packages anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So when do we bump the Flatcar version?
Whenever there's a change, either us modifying our own patches or Gentoo changing patches that would actually affect the stuff on the boot partition. If it's just the user space stuff, I don't think we care about that, because that's not used in Flatcar anyway.
And the version doesn't need to be bumped, or will be reset to one when the package version actually changes, right?
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. I got it now. So it's basically like a sub revision or something like that.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I remember having a need for that, something like that, some time ago. That we also had some other package that was based on Gentoo, and we tried to keep it in sync, but we wanted to bump the revision, but we couldn't, right? Because this is something that Gentoo needs to do. So yeah, I would love to have some, sub revision, like revision 1.1 or something like that, but I'm sure that Gentoo won't be open to that idea. And I think we didn't. Eventually, I think the package got moved to Portage stable anyway, so we didn't need it anymore. But there is sometimes there is like a situation that would be useful. All right, that's it.
Cool. Daniel, do you want to add something? I'll then move on. The next on the list is CNCF. Dilo, anything to discuss here?
We're onboarding. We're discovering more and more interesting services and stuff that the CNCF has to offer. There are a number of smaller wins that we can have, and I'm currently trying to get folks to do that because they're non-technical. The lowest hanging fruit is there's a CNCF repository for artwork, and there's no Flatcar artwork there. They are placeholder, basically the CNCF logos. So in all of these CNCF internal tools that are public, like DevStats, Flatcar has the wrong logo. So just one example of many of the things that we can have and that we're looking into. There have been CNCF folks have floated a few ideas to us, like they have a person basically taking care of technical documentation who could review basically what we're offering and giving us some hints of where we could improve things. And I'm getting a new engineer next month, and maybe they can help with owning the docs and making Flatcar UX a little more up to date. But yeah, we'll see. Other than
I
that,
have,
it's fun. Like we're getting a lot of like hands and helping hands and like things that we can use. And so yeah, it's an interesting and cool onboarding process.
I have a question on this end. So I was trying to submit the booth for CN KubeCon India,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a question on which category, landscape category, are we in, and we are still not there on the landscape from what I figured out. So, but I wanted to, because the deadline is near, I wanted to know, do you know which landscape do we fall in for CNCF?
No, sorry.
Any
Uh,
place like I can ping?
um, Absolutely, Danielle. She has she drives the whole process, and she has all of the contacts inside of the CNCF. Let her know. Give her a deadline. Like, I need this until then, and just ask for a point of contact, and she will be able to forward you. Maybe there needs to be some things to be done at the CNCF end as well. Maybe they put us into a new category, operating systems, but if I recall correctly, actually, Flatcar is mentioned in the WASM WebAssembly category as operating system, because we did a demo once with WASM on Flatcar, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay. And the other thing was, I forgot.
Oh, wait, one more thing. The most likely category will be falling in this runtime.
Okay, understood. And did you all folks receive an email for CNCF thing? Any emails?
I haven't.
No.
Okay, I need to check then. Cool.
I didn't get anything.
Adrian got one, so
Nice.
I need to check because I also did not receive, but Adrian did. So cool. So moving on to the next one is the line work. I'll share the line work tab. Again, I'm skipping the new vendors because Matthew is absent. He is in ASG, I guess. So the team has been primarily working on like the package work and the cluster API, adding new providers, and a few of the members are working on the secure boot. So most of the work has been around that area, and we are for the releases primarily like focusing on adding the news platforms and keeping the we do have automated packages, so that gets updated. And other than that, like the secure boot PRs getting merged. Anything else that you folks would like to add that would be going into the next release? So ideally, the next release is going to be a major alpha and beta along with with a maintenance table that will be going in the first week of October. Do you folks have anything other than that you would be shipping in the next release?
Two things, mainly infrastructure. The first is interesting for developers. The Flatcar SDK will slightly grow in size, because there is this thing when you start building a new operating system image, and you've not done it before in the container instance of the SDK that you're currently using. It'll first build, I think, more than 100 packages just to break a circular dependency loop before it is in a state where it can actually start building board packages. Now, with the change that we did to the SDK build process, we now include these dependency breaker packages in the SDK, so that is not required anymore. The effect people will be seeing if they're using the SDK is they can use emerge arc, so emerge AMD64 USR and emerge ARM64 USR straight away. Before that, it failed if the circular dependencies haven't been resolved yet, and since they're included in the SDK, that'll just work straight out. The second one is interesting for folks on Azure. We included, and that's backported, so that's included in the patch level stable release as well. We included a number of Hyper-V daemons that send operating system metadata, like what version is running, what kernel is running, and so on, to the hypervisor, and that can be used in Hyper-V environments, so on-premise, and that can be used on Azure to get a better idea on what kernel versions are running in your fleet. It's also important for Azure support. So if people file a support ticket for Azure stuff because something didn't work, then support will now have more information to drill down on the problem. That's something that's coming to all channels with the next releases.
I have a question about the first point, because I haven't had a look at the pull request that implemented the change of putting this initial packages into the SDK. What does the build packages script is doing now? Like, it completely skips the first phase and just goes directly into building all the packages.
In effect, yes, that's what's doing. I didn't touch the build packages script. It's the same script as before. I just added another. So if you
maybe I should have just.
No, it's fine. It's fine. This is the dev sync. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's entirely fine.
It's a very small change, actually.
Yeah, that's what I heard. This is a very small change. So I was like interested, like if I get like a new SDK and run build packages, is it going to do the first phase again? Maybe pull in the binary packages instead of building everything from scratch, or just skip the step altogether?
Let me find the right tab to share. That should be the one. All right. So the thing that does the SDK container build is basically this script here. And it's just basically it's a wrapper around a more or less Docker build instructions. Docker build instructions use Docker files from the subdirectory, and like there's a number of steps that we use to create the SDK container. The one that is important to us is SDK build, and the change that I actually did is I didn't just set up the boards for AMD and ARM64. I also ran the build packages with a flag to tell it to only resolve circular dependencies and then stop building packages.
Yeah.
And I added that for both. And so this flag has been around for a while. I've been using it for development, actually. So this was added for both architectures, and so the build automation will just use this Docker file as usual, and will just add those 2 additional steps.
Yeah. So my question was like, once you boot that SDK, and basically what you usually were doing is run the build packages script, then run some image script or build image or something like that, and so on. So if the board root already includes these packages that are there just to resolve the circular dependency, then the subsequent call to the build packages, is it going to somehow skip rebuilding again those packages that were built only to resolve the circular dependencies, or is this?
It does. So it actually it checks if it needs to do that by just querying what packages actually already have been built, so that step still happens, right? But it only takes a few seconds because build packages now figures, oh well, all of the circular dep breaker packages are already built, so I don't need to do anything. And then
Right.
it continues.
That's what I wanted to know. Right.
Makes sense. All right. Yeah, that's my stuff.
Cool. I think that's mostly from the release tracker side. Do you folks have anything to add other than this?
Not much
If
really.
not,
Yeah,
Like,
there's been a bunch of users asking questions in the channels. It would be good to answer them. I've tried my best, but I don't always know about certain things.
sure. Okay. Uh, cool. If not anything else, then we can probably drop it here and see you in 2 weeks for the community office hours meeting.
cool.
Okay,
And
thank you.
thank you for joining. Have a great day.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks. Bye.